Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Professor Ijaz Qureshi, and today we will try to learn the membrane potentials. If you are sitting in a classroom watching the class, somebody behind you make a pin or pinch to the any part of your body. Your immediate response will be you will move away that part of the body away from that stimulus, because that stimulus gives you the sensation of the pain. So when these sensations, they are carried by the sensory nerves to the brain, in the brain that stimulus is integrated and respond to that particular part by contraction of the group of muscle, and you will move away that part of the body from the painful stimulus. So from the point of the stimulus, the sensation goes to the brain. These sensations are also called as the signals. They are called as the messages. They are also called as the impulses, and they are also called as the action potentials. Action potentials means when we apply the action, there will be the change in the potentials. It means the potentials are exist across the cell membrane of the each cells of the body, and when you apply the action, there will be the change in the membrane potentials. The change in the membrane potentials makes the basis for the transmission of the signal from one part of the body to the another part of the body. So today we will try to discuss what are these membrane potentials, and in the next class we will discuss the action potentials. The learning objectives of the membrane potentials: every student must know how to define the Nernst potential, and how the Nernst potentials are being calculated by using the Nernst equation, what is the Goldman equation, and what is the resting membrane potential, and how the resting membrane potential is being created. Membrane potentials, which are also called as the electrical potentials, they exist across the membranes of all cells of the body. Nerve and muscle cells are capable to generate the rapidly changing electrochemical impulses at their membrane, and these impulses are used to transmit the signals along the nerve and the muscle membrane. So membrane potentials, they are caused by the diffusion. That's why they are called as the diffusion potential. That depends upon the ionic concentration difference on two sides of the membrane. Rapidly changing these membrane potentials are observed during the nerve and the muscle transmission. Now this diagram shows the chemical composition of the extracellular fluid and the intracellular fluid. Now this is the intracellular fluid, here is the extracellular fluid. At this particular moment you must remember the sodium concentration outside the cell and inside the cell, the concentration of the potassium outside and inside the cell, and the concentration of the chloride outside and inside of the cell. So there is the large quantity of the sodium present outside the cell, but the large quantity of the potassium lies inside the cell, and a large quantity of the chloride lies outside the cell. A very small quantity of the chloride lies inside the cell. In this diagram, it shows this light pink color nerve fiber. You will see the positively charged substances and negatively charged substances. There is the equal amount of the positively charged and negatively charged substances within the cell, and the same amount, the equal amount of the negative and positive charged substances outside the cell. But just inside the cell there is always negativity. Just outside the cell there is always positivity. That's why the cell remains in a polarized form during the resting condition. When there is no any signal is transmitted, inside the cell is the negativity, outside the cell is the positivity. Now this diagram shows, here is the cell having large quantity of the potassium. Just we assume outside the cell there is a zero concentration of the potassium. So there is the concentration difference from inside to the outside. Large quantity of the potassium inside, no potassium in outside of the cell. So there is the large tendency of the potassium to diffuses outside the cell. It do occur. So the potassium will slowly and gradually it diffuses outside, because potassium is a positively charged ion. When it diffuses to the outside, it will carries the positivity to the outside, leaving behind the negativity. When this negativity reach up to the minus 94 millivolts, there will be the no further diffusion of the potassium from into the outside of the cell. So at this point, minus 94 millivolts, it is the diffusion potential of the potassium. Similarly, we know the large quantity of the sodium lies outside. So there is the tendency of the sodium to diffuse inside the cell. So when sodium is the positively charged ion, when it diffuses from outside to the inside of the cell, it brings the positivity to the inside of the cell. When this positivity reach to the plus 61 millivolts, there will be the no further diffusion of the sodium from outside to the inside. Still there is the concentration difference. High quantity of the sodium outside, low quantity of the sodium inside, but the potential is created inside the cell. When it reaches to the plus 61 millivolts, no further diffusion of the sodium occur from outside to the inside. So these things you keep in the mind. We now discuss the relation of the diffusion potential to the concentration difference. Means it is the Nernst potential. How you define the Nernst potential? Nernst potential is the level of the diffusion potential that opposes the net diffusion of the particular ion through the membrane. The magnitude of the Nernst potential is determined by the ratio of the concentration of the specific ion on two sides of the membrane. Greater the ratio, greater the tendency to diffuse in one direction, and greater will be the Nernst potential required to prevent the further net diffusion. Here is the Nernst equation. This Nernst equation is electromotive force, which is denoted in the millivolts, is equal to the plus minus 61 log concentration inside divided by the concentration outside. There are certain rules to express the Nernst equation. When we express the Nernst equation, we always assume zero potential at the ECF, means outside the cell. Number two, Nernst potential is the potential inside the membrane. The sign of the potential is considered positive if the ion diffusing from inside to the outside is negative, or vice versa. For example, potassium ion inside is 10 times than to the outside. Inside is 10 times to the outside. So this 10, we open the log table, see the value of the 10 in the log. So the value of the 10 in the log is 1. We multiply 1 with the 61, results into the 61. Because potassium is the positively charged ion, we considered this sign negative. So in this particular instance, the Nernst potential for the potassium is minus 61 millivolts. calculation of the diffusion potential when membrane is permeable to so many ions. The human cells, they are permeable to so many ions. So when membrane is permeable to the many ions, the diffusion potential depends upon the three factors. Number one is the electrical charge of the ion, membrane permeability for that particular ion expressed in the P, the concentration of each ion inside and concentration of that particular ion outside. Now this is expressed by the another equation which is called as the Goldman equation or Goldman-Hodgkin-Katz equation. Now here is the Goldman-Hodgkin-Katz equation. Electromotive force equal to the minus 61 log the concentration inside divided by the concentration outside, the permeability inside divided by the permeability outside. So whatever is the membrane potential of a particular cell, it depends upon the sodium, potassium and chloride. We know that the permeability of the sodium and potassium is rapid as compared to the chloride, because chloride is a negatively charged ion, so it is hardly to permeate through the cell membrane. So whatever is the membrane potential created, it 100% depends upon the sodium and potassium. Now we come to the resting membrane potential. Everybody knows the resting membrane potential of every cells, including the large myelinated nerve and the skeletal muscle. It is about minus 90 millivolts. During the resting condition, when no any signal is transmitted, the resting membrane potential is minus 90 millivolts. It means potential inside the fiber is 90 millivolts more negative than the outside. So this minus 90 millivolts, which is the resting membrane potential, how it is created? So what is the origin of the resting membrane potential? It is contributed, number one, by the potassium. So contribution of the diffusion potential of the potassium. If you recall the Nernst potential, the potassium outside in a small quantity, 4 millicoulombs per liter. Potassium inside the cell, it is a huge quantity, 140 milliequivalent. So the inside outside ratio, it is 35. So we see the value of the 35 in the log. The value of the 35 in the log table is 1.54. So 1.54, when we multiply with the 61, it results into the 94. Because the potassium is the positively charged ion, we always consider this negativity. So the 94 will be expressed or considered to be the minus 94 millivolts. So the contribution of the potassium towards creating the resting membrane potential, it is minus 94 millivolts. The contribution of the diffusion potential for the sodium. Now we know that sodium outside 142 milliequivalent, sodium inside is 14 milliequivalent. So the inside outside ratio for the sodium, it is 0.1. So when we see the value of 0.1 into the log table, it is always minus 1. So the value of 0.1 is minus 1. So if we multiply the minus 1 with the minus 61, it results into the plus 61. So the contribution of the sodium towards creating the resting membrane potential, it is plus 61 millivolts, or it is the Nernst potential for potassium is plus 61 millivolts. The Nernst potential for the potassium is minus 94 millivolts. Same is shown here. The potassium contribution of the potassium minus 94, contribution of the sodium plus 61. We place these two values, the sodium and potassium, into the Goldman equation. It results into the minus 86 millivolts. So we put both these values, the Nernst potential for sodium plus 61, Nernst potential for the potassium minus 64, put these two values into the Goldman equation. It will give rise the summated value minus 86 millivolts. But the resting membrane potential is minus 90. So how minus 4 millivolts comes from? It comes from the sodium potassium ATPase pump. So the third contribution towards the resting membrane potential, is the contribution of sodium potassium pump. Now in this diagram it shows the sodium potassium pump. This sodium potassium pump having the three binding sites for the sodium just inside the cell, and the two binding sites for the potassium outside the cell. When the three sodium ions, they are bind inside the sodium potassium pump, and two potassium ions bind with this pump to the outside of the cell, there will be the conformational change occur. So the three sodium, they will leave the cell, three sodium, they will go to the outside. In place of the two potassium, they will enter inside the cell. So for each cycle, there will be the net deficiency of the one positively charged. Both the sodium and the potassium, are positively charged ion. For three sodium which leave the cell, two potassium enters inside the cell. So inside the cell there is the net deficiency of the positively charged ion, which give rise the minus 4 millivolts negativity inside the cell. So the origin of the resting membrane potential, which is the minus 90 millivolts, it is just because of the diffusion potential of the sodium and potassium minus 86, and the sodium potassium pump, it is minus 4 millivolts. When these are added together, it results into the minus 90 millivolts, which is the resting membrane potential. Thank you very much.